from strategy and disclosure to professional performance. In the previous section, we explored how brokers must balance strategy, disclosure, and fiduciary duty when representing sellers. Now we step back and look at the bigger picture, what it truly means to act as a professional in real estate. At the core of every duty we've discussed, advertising, disclosure, negotiation, is one unifying concept: the standard of care. This is the benchmark by which every broker's actions are judged. What defines a real estate professional? A professional is someone who has specialized knowledge and training and is capable of providing competent services to others. In real estate, this means more than just completing transactions. It means guiding clients through complex decisions with skill, accuracy, and care. Consumers expect real estate professionals to perform at a level similar to other licensed professionals. The public is not just hiring you to open doors, they are relying on your expertise to protect their financial future. What is the standard of care? The law requires that a broker act as a reasonable broker would under the same or similar circumstances. This is known as the standard of care, and it applies to every aspect of a real estate transaction. A broker meets this standard by exercising reasonable care, skill, and diligence when representing a client. For example, when listing a property, a broker must use reasonable efforts to secure the best price and terms available for the seller. A simple way to understand it: think of the standard of care like this. If another experienced, competent agent were placed in the exact same situation, would they have handled it the same way you did? If the answer is no, you may have fallen below the standard. What is reasonable care? Reasonable care is not a fixed rule. It changes depending on the situation. The level of care required depends on factors such as the complexity of the transaction, the experience of the client, the type of property involved, the questions being asked by the client. Because every transaction is different, the standard of care is flexible, but not optional. Real-life example where agents get it wrong. Imagine an agent lists a home and the seller asks, "Do I need to disclose a past roof leak?" The agent responds, "It's already fixed, so probably not." Later, the buyer discovers water damage and files a claim. In this situation, the agent may have failed to meet the standard of care by not recommending disclosure or further investigation. A reasonable broker would have said, "Let's disclose it or get more information to protect you." Do the commissioner's rules define the standard? The commissioner's rules can help define what reasonable care looks like in specific situations. Courts have recognized that these rules often reflect the expected conduct of a broker. For example, rules related to disclosure, communication, and supervision provide guidance on how brokers should act in real transactions. This is why staying current with rule updates is critical in 2026. What happens if the standard of care is violated? If a broker's actions fall below the standard of care, that broker may be considered negligent. Negligence can result in legal liability, meaning the broker may be responsible for damages caused by their actions. This is where small mistakes can become expensive problems. What must be proven in a lawsuit? To hold a broker liable, a plaintiff must prove two key things: that the broker failed to act as a reasonable professional would, that this failure caused harm. Both elements must be present. A mistake alone is not enough. It must also result in damage. Who decides the standard was violated? The decision is made by the trier of fact, which is typically a jury, judge, or arbitrator. They review the evidence and determine whether the broker's actions met professional expectations. How is the standard of care proven? In most cases, the standard of care is established through expert testimony. This usually comes from another experienced broker who explains what a reasonable professional would have done in the same situation. This is a powerful concept. Other brokers, your peers, define what is considered acceptable behavior in your profession. How to stay above the standard. The best way to meet and exceed the standard of care is through continuous education and professional development. Attend classes, stay updated on laws and rules, and remain engaged in the industry. The more knowledge and experience you gain, the better equipped you are to serve your clients. Life example: the difference between average and professional. Two agents handle the same transaction. Agent A fills out paperwork and waits for things to happen. Agent B anticipates issues, communicates clearly, recommends inspections, verifies information, and documents everything. Both agents complete the transaction, but only one operated at a professional standard. The difference is not luck, it is the standard of care. Bringing it all together. This section ties everything in this course together. Advertising, disclosure, negotiation, and fiduciary duty all exist within the framework of the standard of care. It is the measuring stick that determines whether you acted professionally or negligently. The most successful agents are not just compliant, they are intentional about how they serve their clients. Strive to be the agent that others would call as an expert witness, not the one being evaluated. Online discussion. Question: why is the standard of care different in every transaction? Answer: because each transaction involves different facts, clients, and circumstances, requiring brokers to adjust their level of care accordingly. Question: what is the biggest risk of falling below the standard of care? Answer: the broker may be found negligent and held liable for damages caused by their actions. Question: how can a broker consistently meet the standard of care? Answer: by staying educated, acting with reasonable care and diligence, and seeking expert guidance when needed.